Okay. Additions or deletions? Carla, anything? I don't think we have anything.
Minutes. I don't have minutes done.
Oh,
So we're scratching 1.9.
1.9 has been scratched.
Just to update 1.5, which is a septic permit that got wanted for 17
Yep.
and upgrade.
Okay. All right, so we'll go with 1.3. We'll start off, Rick, with COVID update.
All right, so just to go over the most recent numbers, again, these are reported on Thursday night. They're the case counts for the previous 14-day period. So the last reporting was on May 6th, with 8 cases. You guys back in the gray. Go back on the other numbers on 4/29, there was 20 cases reported. That was the yellow, and on April 22nd, there were 26 cases, which was red. So we improved significantly in the past couple of weeks. As far as vaccination numbers go, these are also reported on Thursday. So the last report was on May 6th. Number of residents in Townsend that have received at least one dose is at 50%. There's 4,562 people, and full vaccination is 36%. There's 3,253 people that have gotten both vaccinations or the Johnson & Johnson single dose.
And we still have no way of knowing adults and children, so we can't really say.
So it's only for, I think it's only approved for 18-year-olds now. I think they're going to be coming out, and the FDA is going to be approving it for the younger children, probably this week.
Does that reflect our percentages correctly, or is that just full town?
So I don't know the 9,114 number they give.
Yeah.
I'm assuming is full population.
So we actually technically, technically we could be 60-70%.
We could be pretty darn close as far as people who could actually get it right now.
Okay, that just, something that we'd consider before we allow the town hall to open again, which I'm sure everyone would love to see done, but of course we can only make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. We can't actually tell them to open the thing, but if there's no way for you to find out.
I can, they give the vaccination numbers in a couple of different ways. So I had just taken these from female, but they do have an age breakdown.
Yes.
And so I can give you I can either forward you a link to get right to the page, or I can come back with it on the next meeting.
Just come back with it the next meeting, because we won't be able to do anything until the next meeting anyway. Yeah, that way we can get a better idea of the actual percentage of people who are eligible. So if we're at 70 or 80%, then we look and go, well, we're definitely at herd immunity, so we could open the town hall with the board's approval or recommend. Okay.
Griffey had sent an email out yesterday. I think it only went to you, Chris. So if you
that one, yeah.
If you can put it on, announce that we are going to be opening up the Devon's Regional Collaborative site for vaccination. And so as of right now, it's just going to be open one day a week. And this week will be the first week, so it'll be open on May 12th. And we're looking to expand to additional days, but we really only have the staff to do one. So we're reaching out to the fire departments and other people that can vaccinate to see if we can staff additional days out there. But that is an option now. He also said that we were awarded the Public Health Excellent Grant. So he's looking at adding another health agent, a part-time food inspector, and a public health educator to the staff. And then also getting more for the food service stuff. But they'll be going in with iPads now that'll kind of generate a report. And then there are changes that are going to affect today. So we're moving into phase 4, step 2. And that means that amusement parks, theme parks, and outdoor water parks will be permitted to open at 50% capacity. road races and other large outdoor and organized amateur or professional group athletic events will be permitted to take place with staggered starts and other appropriate safety measures after submitting plans to the local Board of Health and the Department of Public Health. We don't have any but large capacity venues like Gillette, the TD Bank Garden, whatever it's called now. They can open at 25% capacity. It was previously 12%. So
That's on the 10th, correct?
today.
Oh, today. Yeah, today's the 10th. Wow, that worked out well. Wow.
Yeah, the youth and adult sports tournaments, previously, things like higher sports, so like football, hockey, they couldn't do tournaments today. And singing will also be permitted indoors, which isn't something that's been allowed with distancing requirements. So they can do it at things like performance venues, restaurants. They can start to have that indoor singing as long as they meet the requirements within the current standard. Grocery stores and retail stores with a pharmacy department, they no longer have to provide senior hours, although they are still recommending that they do so. And then looking forward, effective on May 29th, the gathering limits are going to increase. And the big thing is that it's the same number for public venues as well as private settings. So like at a private residence, these numbers still apply, and that would be 200 people indoors and 250 people outdoors. Also, it's going to be allowed effective on May 29th, parades and agricultural festivals at 50% of their previous capacity, and after submitting safety plans to a local Board of Health, that 50% capacity might be going away just because there was concern about how to calculate that number.
How are they going to do that with something like the North End Festival?
That's why I'm saying I'm pretty sure it's going to disappear. Haven't made that decision.
Are they still requiring 6 feet for indoor?
6 feet distancing, masking is still, there.
Yep.
Across the board.
Okay.
Particular circumstances when you have vaccinated individuals together at a private residence.
Oh, okay.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then they are still keeping, bars, beer gardens, breweries, wineries, distilleries, they're going to be able to open up on May 29th as well. And they're going to keep that 90-minute table limit in place. So you can't be kind of like up at the bar grabbing a drink and walking around. It's still going to be seated service only.
But the bars will be open so you can actually sit at the bar.
You can sit at a table or at the bar if they have 6 foot spacing.
Gotcha.
And then the restaurant guidance is going to be updated to eliminate the requirement that food be served with alcohol. So you can just go and you can order beer or whatever. And they're going to increase the maximum table size to 10. So those last things will be effective May 29th at the end of this month. I checked the vaccine page this morning, and it looks like if you wanted to go and get an appointment to get vaccinated, you could probably go and do it today. Lunenburg was the closest appointment that I found, but they're out there, and they're in pretty close proximity. And then just as far as trends, everything's kind of headed in the right direction. So in the state, and for you guys too, cases are down. And then I don't have the individual data, but across the state, the hospitalizations are way down as well. So all the numbers are trending in the right direction.
Okay, good news. Any questions, board? None seen. Rick, got anything else for us?
That's all I've got for COVID.
Okay, let's, all right, let's move on to 1.4, review of current Title V regulations. I'm gonna kind of do this, fellas, and I'm gonna try and sneak my face in there occasionally so everybody knows I'm still here. Has everybody had a chance to read the regulations? Yeah, are you happy with what you read? I mean, you understand, obviously, but yeah, with Gavin, you took a look? All right, so we all took a look. Who wants to start? Jim? Well, we have these regulations. You want to have the board consider. Yeah. I mean, I look through them, I kind of understand what they mean and all that. And I highlighted a couple of things and with the tanks, section 12.9, which I'll read it to you and you can look at it when it gets there. You know what I mean, right? All new construction shall have a 2-compartment tank conforming to 3110 CMR 15.24. The minimum size shall be 1,500 gallons. So I think we can actually make them bigger without changing regulations. Because it says minimum size. So I guess that's on our discretion to go with a bigger one.
I mean, really, if you want a bigger one, we would want to change the regulation.
Well, it says minimum size. It doesn't say that that is the size.
Because codes are minimum requirements.
Yeah, so we have the right to actually just say we want a 2,000 gallon, 1,000.
But if you're expecting it, it should be written in the regulations. There might be engineers that aren't familiar with it and design it.
Well, we can always make them redo it. It's not our done.
I would strongly suggest.
Okay.
Yep. What page you on?
9. It's the tanks are on the very top of the 9. You see it?
Yeah, can I have the floor?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I'm gonna address this to you also, Rick.
Hmm.
When I started out in this and they started doing these systems, this is going back in time a little bit. When you were doing 3 and 4 bedroom homes, you had a 1,500 gallon tank, 1 out 2 G-box and 2.
Okay.
That was fine. Depending on the occupancy of the house, how many people were living in the house,
Right.
and the actual usage of the house as far as how they handle their waste, food, et cetera. Taking a 1,500 gallon tank, cutting it down to 1,500 is defeating the purpose of the settling time in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're dumping it into a 1,000 gallon tank opposed to what would have been a 1,500 gallon tank.
Yeah.
That makes a difference in the longevity.
Okay.
All right. And what we had in Townsend previously, I forget what year we put it into effect,
Mhm.
but we were doing the 1,500 gallon tank, excuse me, followed by a 1,000 gallon tank for additional settling before we went to the D-box.
Yep.
It's my opinion as a past Title V inspector and installer,
Yeah.
that we've got to keep the quantity of the tank up so that we have the proper settling happening in the tank prior to it going to the settling tank and then to the D-box and field. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah.
And I was looking in my phone when we first got here because I had taken pictures of the septic system across the street from my house when we installed it.
Okay.
And I took pictures of both the tanks, the rises, the field. I did all that, but I
Yeah.
couldn't sum one in my fingers. I'm going to try to find it so I have it for our next meeting.
Okay.
So my opinion as a professional is that we have to keep the quantity up. So I'm going to say that we shouldn't have a 15 that's cut with in half with 1,005.
Yeah.
That we should still have a full 1,500 gallon tank, and or go to a 2,000 gallon tank or a 2,500 gallon tank with 2 compartments. Some places that's doable, some places not, depending on the property. We might have to go back to a 15 or maybe a 500 gallon tank following instead of 1,000. This is stuff we're going to have to do some research on. And remember, my opinion of all this is the longevity of the systems in our town.
I understand.
We run on natural water sources.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And also the longevity of the system for people who own houses that want to sell up to 20 or 30 years, and they're not going to have to put additional funds in because they failed.
Okay. Gavin?
So what you want to do is just go to a 2,000 gallon minimum size limit, or
With the
25,
divider. So we're going to actually start out with a 1,500 gallon
and then have a second 500.
then a second 500, which could be incorporated in the same tank. It doesn't have to be two tanks. And where it's not feasible to do that, then we go back to 2 tanks again.
Why would you think that if it's not feasible to put in a big
If
tank,
we're doing-
2 small
if we're
tanks
doing
in the
an
same area,
We'll
it's the
conclude.
same size?
If we're doing an upgrade on
Yeah.
a pre-existing situation where there's a failure involved,
Yes.
The system is so old, it was.
No, I understand. Yeah.
And it was put in weird fashions. It's put too close to the water area, it's put too close to,
Yeah.
ledge can be a problem in some towns, because you can't get in. They do make ledge tanks, they're much lower tanks,
Okay.
bigger. Yes,
Okay.
the capacity is the same in some cases when we can't dig down because there's a lot of,
Yeah.
ledge.
Stone or ledge or something,
We
yeah.
have to make adjustments, so most of the time, sorry.
It's okay.
Most of the time,
Mhm.
today, it's rather easy because we plan these things out much better than we had in the past.
Yeah.
But when we go to upgrading a pre-existing situation,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're gonna run into.
So you're suggesting we go to a 1,500 gallon tank for all systems?
Yes.
So I think the big thing is a 1,500 gallon first compartment or primary tank, and then an additional settling tank, whether it be a separate or a multi-compartment that provides the additional, like the first compartment or the first tank.
Okay. No, I understand that, but my concern is that, and not to be obnoxious at all, but you know, we know that there's no data to show that what we're doing now and what we did in the past is any different. There's no numbers that Gavin can look at to determine this, Jim. And I understand your point, as you know, been in the business, and I understand it, but if we went to say a 2,000 gallon tank instead of 1,500 and did 1,000 and 1,000, your settlement would be a little better. But you're looking at, I'm having a little trouble knowing that there isn't 1 million 4-bedroom houses in this town. There's a lot of capes, a lot of ranches that are 2-bedroom. So forcing them into a gigantic tank, which will take up their whole yard, you know, because if you look up in Timberley Park, they're all half-acre lots. It's going to take up a shitload of room. That it might be a little overkill in my eyes. I'm not saying I'm right, but I think maybe I would rather see the split tank size increased so that, you know, because I'm imagining this in my head. You've got your 1,500 gallon tank. There's got to be a pipe to connect you to the other tank, correct? Right? The settling tank, and then there's another pipe out the other end. I don't know how big
So a 1,500
gallon
gallon
tank
tank generally
is.
is 10 feet long.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 gallon tank is generally 8 feet long.
Okay.
So you know, you're gonna probably have at least 20 feet of space, 2 feet between the two.
Yeah.
To make your distance.
Okay.
You can turn on, but you also.
Okay.
Yeah, you can change, you can index them differently.
Mhm.
And the other thing is you could go to all one tank, two compartments.
Right.
Which is generally like,
Now,
you know,
is
when you
that
say
cheaper than
2,000 gallons,
2 tanks?
manufacturers really don't make a 2,000 gallon tank.
Okay.
That's another side of it.
So there's 2,000 gallon, 2 compartments, but you might be limited as far as manufacturers, because the only
Right.
time I really see them is if somebody's got like a low flow, so it's got to be really 3 bedrooms, that's the most you can get out of it, and we're using that 500 as a pump chamber.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
It's awful to work on.
Which is awful to work on.
Well, the fact, you know,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta think about the after fact, you know, it's kind of like cars with engines.
I can promise you, John was inside my mother's septic tank way too many times over the years when she lived in Timberley Park. Poor bastard, I felt bad. But
You know,
yeah,
You bring these things into effect, and
Yeah.
from a pumper standpoint, where
Right.
I'm pumping these things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I certainly think 2 separate tanks is
Mm.
definitely has been better.
yeah, okay.
And like you say, you know, with a 2-bedroom house, yeah, it's kind of a lot to make somebody jump through a
Mhm.
hoop.
Now, how much does
And it's
a,
expensive too.
yeah, well, that's
And
my,
you're bringing a maintenance expense to
Yeah.
it as well.
my only concern, I guess, is cost too for, you know, most of these houses in Timberley Park are first-time homeowners. I mean, that's our biggest block of houses in
To
town.
me, I would make it a 3-bedroom plus.
Yeah.
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 Why
Great
can't we
idea.
make it, 1,500 gallon minimum for a 2-bedroom or less,
Yeah,
a 2,000 gallon minimum for 4 bedroom or more, or 3 bedroom or more, you know,
Make it
somewhere.
complicated, because there's engineers involved, and every town kind of has their own
Yeah.
jurisdictions and rules.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a 3 bedroom plus rule would make sense.
Yeah.
And it still coincides with Title V
You good with that, Jim?
requirements and flow rates.
No, we're not gonna decide anything today. Yeah, we're just, we're
We've
throwing,
discussed this for several meetings.
Yes,
Keep our notes
yeah.
down to-
Yeah.
Remember now, when you take a house in Timberley Park.
Yeah.
Most of
I
those
think a
single
lot.
floor houses, right?
did what?
The single floors, they're not 2 stories, right?
No, they're 2 stories.
No, there's 2 stories, yeah.
Okay, now, somebody wants to add on to one of those houses, they
Right.
want to put an additional room on, they can call it whatever they want, but they essentially are making another bedroom in the house if they do that. So this is also gonna assist people if they're gonna upgrade and remodel. And the upfront cost for these tanks
Mm.
is not that much when you look at it in
Yeah. Yeah.
Beyond the tanks, you also gotta think about leach fields.
Yeah.
Certain towns like Constable have like 85-foot long leach lines.
Yeah.
So.
85 foot, I don't know.
Right.
I don't think I could
But
get one in my yard.
IV systems are 25 years old on their inspection. and
Yeah.
they last.
Oh, mine's
So
put in the
It
60s.
goes beyond tanks.
Yeah.
Settlement matters.
How many of the new systems that have dual tanks have you found?
Hundreds.
Yeah. How are they working? Are they working the way they're supposed to?
Like, say, Alyssa Drive. They're amazing.
Hmm.
And it's all about how the owner wants to take charge of their
Well, we
maintenance.
just have a lot of responsibility in the septic system.
Like 2 compartments. I mean, 2 compartments.
Because I think, you know, the reason Gavin had asked about data, and we don't really have data, and so that's why we had thought about maybe bringing Mike in, because he's pumped so many. And so what you can look at is, what is your settling in each of the tanks? How much solids do you have in the first compartment or the first tank, and how much settling do you have in the second compartment, the second tank? We really only get at Title V inspections, but Mike's probably seen a lot more than we've seen Title V inspections. So like, if you see a significant amount of settling in that second tank, or you see more in the 2,500 gallon 2 compartment, second compartment, which is 1,000 gallons, compared to the 1,500 gallon 2 compartment, which is only 500 gallons. So that would kind of give you some actual data.
And that's where you're hitting, like, because,
Yeah, no, it single-handedly can tell you that settling tanks work.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in them. And then, and then, filters work too.
well, that's required here, actually, because that's one of the other things, Jim, on the same page. It says, all systems shall be equipped with effluent filters on out pipes and secondary compartment 2-powder tanks. What in the hell is that?
Plastic micron filter that can be hosed off.
And you take your cover off the end of the tank and where your pipe is going on.
Okay.
That one in the van.
It slides right down into that.
Does anyone ever clean it, or?
Yeah. and you can-
Oh, okay, I
Isn't that
trust
what I
me.
thought happened
Yeah.
to my house, but it really needed just to be cut.
Like I said, mine was put in the 60s, so I don't have any of
Open
that stuff.
ponds and water level rose.
Yeah.
So you started getting gurgling.
Yeah.
So you pull the filter after you hose it down, after you pump it down.
Yeah.
So that you're not infiltrating the leach field with a
Yeah.
ton of water.
Do you do that
And then
when you
hose
pump a
it off and
system,
clean
or
it out. What?
do you do that when you pump a system?
Generally, if it has a filter and I know about it, yes.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's something I knew nothing, I didn't even know there was a filter on them, so.
Not all systems have.
You probably don't, but
I
in
don't.
the past.
My God, I've got an 800 gallon tank. I don't have much of anything.
Yeah, so anything in the past 15 years, like we've had one.
Yeah, okay. And that's a good thing. Does that help with the settling, or is that catch?
No, that helps with the amount of overflow to the leach.
Means nothing
Solid
to me.
content. Solid content.
Oh,
going to
so,
the leach
oh,
field.
okay. That must get by the second half of the other tank?
Right, so generally with a 2-tank system or a 2-compartment system, you'll get the bulk of the solids caught up in the first primary tank.
Yeah.
As it goes to the second chamber or second tank.
Yeah.
It usually will settle out better there.
Right.
And then the filter will be the last line of defense for solids going to the leach.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's actually a good thing.
Very good.
Yeah.
When they put that into effect, I was like.
Yeah, like I said, I try and get everyone, keep rotating so we get a little bit, not that anyone else is on there, but yeah, no one else is on there but us, but, So we'll spin back to the crowd.
No.
Yeah.
I love the idea.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we can make it palatable for
Everybody, yeah,
and including you guys and the
Right.
homeowners, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
It certainly has increased my volume of work, as an end user. But, as far as homeowners go, it is an expensive ordeal for them to all of a sudden be pumping 2,500 gallons.
yeah.
So. is it-
So I kind of like the
explain a
2-bedroom,
little
3-bedroom idea.
explain a little more why it's, more for you, more work for you.
Just 2
Sheer
compartments
volume?
alone, because every tank you pump out, and at least the way I do it is, I pump the tank out of its entire contents,
Mhm.
and then I pressurize my truck, push water back into the bottom of the tank to loft any settled out solids, because it just doesn't come out. So now you're mixing it up, which is gross. But then you pump it out a second time. So now you're doing that with multiple compartments. It's just adds time to the job.
Right.
And you're still getting the same liquid, and that's how you base your pricing.
Because your truck holds about 4,000 gallons.
Correct.
So it's like.
Jesus, that would be like 2 septic tank systems.
Right.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
in this situation, if we move it to 2,500, which is where it's been in the past.
Yeah.
I know. It's all about coordination for a day, but then
Yeah.
that's beyond.
So you actually couldn't even do 2 if we
I could
did
do
25.
2,500 and then go do a 1,500 gallon tank somewhere else.
Wow, that must be a pain in the ass. What do you get out of this
It's
shit?
not, 'cause, you coordinate your day.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people just don't even know what they have in the ground.
Yeah.
So you kind of plan to do them first.
Yeah, as a young kid, when I bought my house, they told me I got a brand new system.
I'll
What a lie that
I'd
was.
probably say 60% of the people don't know what they have.
My opinion here is I'm listening to
Yeah.
everything you said, but I still think if we go back in time a little bit,
Yeah.
take an average 3-family house with a 1,500 gallon tank,
Mhm.
build a settling tank behind it. You don't have to go with such storage because you're gonna be pumping it every 2 or 3 years anyway. That second tank, that's the insurance policy that much less stuff is gonna make it to the field.
Right,
And that keeps the cost of the 1,500 down to 15, and it makes it convenient for the pump,
Yeah.
Right.
okay? And then if the second tank should have to be pumped at any point in time.
I didn't even think of the pump tank.
I don't-
I didn't even think of the pump tank because my mother-in-law's, her 2 tanks are in the front. This was 15 years ago, maybe even 20 now. The 2 tanks were in the front and they pumped all the way around to the back of the house. So they actually had to have a pump tank.
Possibly end up with 3 tanks.
Jesus.
If you take the pump chamber as a second settling tank, we won't have that problem.
Yeah, 'cause she only has 2 tanks,
Right.
So-
but it's like, oh, I didn't even think of that.
Here in the past, the pump
But-
chamber is
but
considered the second.
you're
So
not-
that
you're
way
not
you don't go
settling.
into 3 tanks.
Yeah, but you're not really settling anything with a pump chamber.
Yeah, it's not in the-
Because it's in the lease.
Should, but sometimes we gotta.
Right.
We gotta have several meetings to get this
Yeah.
together before we actually sit down and say, okay, we're gonna.
Yeah.
When you go to pump like a 2,500 gallon 2 compartment, will you always pump the second compartment?
Negative.
Depending on.
So usually what I recommend, depending on how long they've been in the house.
Mm.
Usually I say 1 year for every 500 gallons. Or pump the second chamber every other time you pump the tank, if you do it every 2 years. So if you pump
How many
1,500
people
gallons
do
every
that?
2 years with a family of 5 or something.
Yeah.
Then do the 1,000-gallon settling tank every other time, so every 4th year.
Okay.
And usually, been doing this a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
20-something years.
Mm.
Usually, if you stick to that kind of maintenance, it is preventative.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it. If you wait till you have a problem, it's a whole different situation, conversation,
Oh, yeah.
which used to be the way.
Right.
Yeah.
It is preventative maintenance.
Right.
The customers all say it's been working fine. We may think it's been working.
Until
fine.
that last flush, it doesn't work anymore.
Until Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me, actually.
Yeah.
But it was just that the pipe was clogged.
So, things definitely work.
Yep.
In my thoughts, I would like to see something 2-bedroom, is a 1,500 2 compartment or something. And then they hold the bigger houses.
And that has to be deeded also, because when you put that system in, you
Right.
cannot have in a house or expand the house. It's
Right.
deeded that way.
Unless you change the septic. Should be a contingency.
So now, do we, and I have to put on my planning board hat here for a minute now. As, you know, the chair here, I'm more concerned with this, but thinking back. When the drawings come through with the house and all that stuff, you have a bedroom. Now, I can still add, now, my house is a 2-bedroom, you know, Cape. I can still put another addition on my house, like a great room or something. I can't add a bedroom. Okay? Everybody has to go through a permit to build additions. They're known what they are. They're insured for what they are. Obviously, what they do afterwards, we can't control. But I do know that the insurance company, if you put in a bedroom and someone burns to death and dies, they're not going to cover you for a bedroom. I went through this with my mother-in-law years ago in Arlington when they had a back porch, and my father-in-law thought it was a great idea to close it in. And when it finally fell off the house, the insurance company goes, "Now there's no permit for that. We're not paying for it." And it's pretty sad that an old woman, her husband would die, and they wouldn't pay for it. And they weren't even going to put the deck back on, but I told them they had to, so they did. But yeah, you're going to end up having problems with people that don't pull permits that are going to get screwed in the end. It
You're
isn't.
never gonna control the non-puller.
Yeah.
You gotta focus on the rules and how we move forward.
Yeah.
What makes sense.
Yeah. And the best
What
we.
makes sense to you.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
certainly.
Okay. And anybody else have any questions for now, or?
I think we should think about this,
Yes.
digest it,
Yes.
ask people questions, have conversations with other folks.
Absolutely.
the whole bit.
Absolutely.
And we were asked about having Veterans Day as a holiday.
Yeah.
When I
Would
was
you?
in Florida, I asked a bunch of veterans
Yeah.
down there after the fact,
Yeah.
and they all agreed, yeah, don't screw up the whole.
Oh, okay. All right. No, that was
We don't
just.
need that holiday.
Yeah. Well, for me, not being a veteran, it was just for you guys to
Well,
honor you guys.
He was right there, that's
Yeah.
not a question.
Yeah.
but We've already done our thing for him.
Okay. Yeah.
We wanted to show what goes on in the homeland.
Okay, that's fine, good. So we got that out of the way anyway, so. It's not on there, that was just my idea to honor you guys, that's all.
What brings this question to about septic systems up? Regulations?
Well,
I brought it up because I had to resign a year ago. There was too much money in the water for me and I had to get out of here.
Mhm.
And the person that I walked away from ended up changing everything what it is today compared to what we had in the past.
Right.
And we put a lot of work into it when we had it put
Yeah.
in back then. And I just got frustrated because I know that what they're doing today isn't gonna be satisfactory for long term. Trying to bring it back to long term, so when you're ready to sell your house, you're gonna pass Title V.
Right.
Because when you go to sell a house, you sit and fail.
It's a very valid point. Yeah.
so you don't think these 1,500 2-compartment tanks would pass?
Because you only got 1,000 gallons settling to start.
Yeah.
And we've always had 1,500 with a 3-bedroom.
Okay, no, I'm asking,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so you don't think that these are any good?
They're gonna work, but they take more maintenance.
Yeah.
To have it pumped all the time at 1,000 gallons a pop.
Yeah.
Once again, this is the long-term investment that I'm looking at.
Okay,
So if I can buy a vehicle, it's gotta go 200,000 miles, I wanna get my 200,000 miles out of it.
I usually
Right.
trade mine in way before that, so I can get a little money out of it. But I guess that's a personal thing. Like your backhoe, I would have traded that in back in the 60s and got one in from the 80s.
Okay, so good to see so far.
Did it? All right, so we will continue this on our next meeting, Carla. And thank you very much for coming in. Your help on this is greatly considered. And
Professional advice in front of
Yes.
the committee, definitely.
yes, we appreciate you taking the time for us. Okay, so let's move on then. We'll keep that, Carla, for our next meeting. And we will go to septic permit for 17 School Street. Wow, can they even get septics over there?
Yeah, that's a
That's a
pretty tiny
long-
lot.
I was gonna say, is that one on the corner, that little tiny house and that little tiny?
That one's already got one. That's
Oh.
on Water Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is a new one with a very small skinny lot.
Yeah, they got three.
Yeah,
three
good to know,
bedrooms
so it
in
helps
there.
out. So, existing 3-bedroom house, it's kind of been added on a few times, and they've got the garage in the back here. But existing system is basically a tank with a single leach line coming out of it that's failed inspection. So they're looking to put in a new 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank and a new leach field 30 by 15. They're not asking for any variances, so it's in full compliance with the upgrade regulations.
And I've never really looked at these tanks before.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the filter right there is a Zabel filter. That's just.
Is that inside the tank?
It's in the, so,
Oh,
PVC.
yeah,
Oh,
so
I
you
thought
got
it was
the
out here somehow. Oh, okay.
PVCT and it slides in it.
So there's one there also too then, right?
That's just a gas baffle on that one.
Okay. Should make them put a filter in there.
This is where the pipe goes through the tank, so the fluid goes into both the second compartment.
The idea behind putting it in the second and not the first is you're gonna have less to filter out at that point and less likelihood of it clogging up and causing a problem.
That just proves that the settling areas do work.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I figured they did,
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of common sense, but, yeah, okay.
Why did they go to the field on this one?
He likes to design them. I mean, I think they work pretty well. I think you do
Fields are
too,
good, I've
but,
always liked the field, I'm just curious, because sometimes it could be a field and they go with trenches.
What's a field?
This is just a flat layer of stone with a pipe plate across it, opposed to doing individual trenches.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So my mother-in-law's is like that.
I got one of these myself.
I mean, at least for this one too, having the shallow profile allows them to gravity feed, because they do run into issues with these older houses where the pipes are kind of deeper.
Yeah.
And then you run into a creek.
I don't even want to bother, and nobody's on there, like we expected. Do we get a motion?
Make a motion to accept 17 School Street in Townsend as drawn with no variances.
Second.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're done. That's the only one you have, right?
That's the only one, yeah, I do have a permit.
Did you print out the manure management plan stuff? Oh, sweet.
Gotcha.
I don't think you need to, just in case if anyone wanted to look at it. I came in this morning to the town hall, it was closed on Friday. I walked out at 2 o'clock, so I don't know what happened here. But did you see the signs on the town hall was closed on Friday?
No, yeah, I didn't come back.
Like,
Why
well,
was it closed on Friday?
I was here till 2. I mean, remember we talked?
Yeah.
You were gonna come by for the needles?
Yeah,
I
didn't bring them with you this morning, I forgot them.
Okay.
Oh, for the box. Yeah. I think we can
So you
clear.
want me to just go through it verbally and then you can pass it around?
I think so.
This was for 45 South Harbor Road. It's a stable permit application, and the owner is Charles Burnham.
Burnham. Yeah.
And so they're looking to get the stable license just for one horse. Distance from the manure site to the lot lines, the abutters is 50 feet. They're estimating that they're gonna have an annual manure production of 14,000 pounds. And that they're going to basically use it as fertilizer on site, because they've indicated that they're gonna use the full amount to spread on the field. And then there's a question about shipping, and they said as needed. So I would assume that if they basically have more than they can handle on the site, that they would access. As far as the manure storage, she's proposing to use a 12 by 12 by 5 dual bin composting structure with a gravel bottom, wiring around the outside and covered. And that she would just be composting that manure to spread on site.
Does that work?
You want me to go through? She wrote a pretty nice plan.
No, I mean, I don't, does that work?
I mean, so she took the majority of her stuff from the New Hampshire Department of Agricultural Resources.
We use, yes, I know. We can't even use one from Mass.
Just
Bugs
because
me,
it's
but-
a little bit better than anything as far as that goes.
Really? Oh,
So
good.
The thing that you guys have typically asked for in the past is that it be an impervious bottom on those composting units.
Yep.
Just so I'm assuming she would be willing to if that was what you wanted to do out there.
Mhm.
But that's what she's proposing is that the composting unit would be covered with a gravel bottom. Yeah, so I don't know if the concern was leaching through
It's
it.
right
maybe
on the
cover
aquifer.
Would help, or if you
I
would.
want, I
Yeah.
like the gravel bottom for
Yeah.
2 reasons.
Hmm.
It's gonna let too much stuff go into the ground in
Yeah.
one spot. And if she's gonna be moving that to haul out of there, and she's
Yeah.
using the tractor, she's gonna be disturbing that gravel.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna slab there, 3-inch slab,
Hmm.
you can get all the manure right out of there and
Yeah.
prevent it from seeping into the ground.
I'm actually a big fan of that myself. Because you know as well as I do, and you do too, you got a solid concrete bottom, you can scoop easy without disturbing anything. And, you know, how big is her tank?
So that bin you're talking
Yeah.
about, 12 by 12 by 5 is what she's proposing.
12 inches or 12 feet?
12 feet.
Oh, I'm thinking 12 inches. Well, that's like one horse poop. Yeah, so I mean, you're only looking at, you know, a 12 by 12 slab. It's not
It's
that,
it's
a huge
the biggest thing
expense.
done. It's a
Yeah.
long-term investment.
I agree.
It's gonna protect our ground a whole bit.
I agree with that 100% because she is right on the aquifer, right there. So, I mean, that is, well, that's my drinking water. I don't know who else's drinking water it is, but,
I think it could be a
Yeah.
complete bottom myself.
yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Gavin, what do you think?
Yeah, so you want me to go through the rest of her plan and then you can kind of.
Yeah, if you don't want it.
Yeah, so this was her plan. So the first bullet point was location. So site of yard containing 12 by 5 dimensional structure. Manure composting station will not be located in runoff streams or floodwaters, and a tarp will be placed over the pile to keep rainwater out. Construction, wiring will be placed around all 6 sides with a gravel bottom and a cylinder size wiring down the middle to provide oxygen flow. Compost station will also be covered. The compost thermometer will be used to help monitor the temperature to determine if and when intervention is needed. Collection methods, pitchfork, wheelbarrow, stall, paddock, organic kitchen scraps, and lawn maintenance scraps. Process and maintenance, to start a pile, 6-inch layer of organic material will be inside one of the 3 compost sections. Compostable organic materials include leaves, grass clippings, vines, weeds, twigs, and branches. If pine needles are added, highly acidic, 1 cup of lime will be sprinkled over the organic material layer. Then animal manure will be spread 2 inches thick over the bottom layer of the organic material and covered by a 1-inch thick layer of potting soil to hasten the decomposition process. Organic materials, manure, and soil will continue to be layered until the pile reaches a height of about 4 feet. Components, horse manure of 1 equine, leftover hay, grass clippings, vegetable peels, and dried leaves will be added regularly to keep the composting condition ratio 1:3 carbon to nitrogen. Alternating layers of brown and green materials will be added to the compost pile to keep the balance. Brown materials include items like wood chips, dry leaves, twigs, and newspaper. Green materials include fresh grass clippings. Composting, a properly maintained compost pile of suitable materials will be added to speed up the composting process. If a garbage smell is noted, wood, ash, or lime will be added to increase the pH to encourage reheating. Pile will be covered with an insulating layer of leaves during the lower temperatures in the fall, winter, and spring. And the moisture in the pile will be monitored. Once it has completed the compost process, it will be used for garden soil or added to topsoil on property in the fall or early spring. And then she's just got a sketch.
That all sounds good, but I'm still a big fan of the
bottom,
concrete.
just the
Yeah,
impervious, the bottom, then
Yeah.
we could talk about her to change that.
yeah,
gravel
just
to-
change that to a concrete pad. And,
Concrete pad is the best thing in my
Yeah.
opinion, because over the years of usage, it's gonna gouge the
Yeah.
deeper into the ground between the
Yeah.
concrete there.
and that makes it easy to clean,
Mhm.
easy to maintain, just, you know.
I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is
Mm.
the only thing that it helps is if you dig too deep into the ground when you're trying to.
Mhm.
Any runoff you're gonna have on a concrete pad is gonna be the same on a gravel pad. It's just gonna flow to the outside and then go into the ground. So all we're really, as far as I
Hmm.
can tell, the only thing we're really preventing by doing a concrete pad is digging into the ground lower than either the surface level of the concrete or the surface of the gravel. Right? It's covered.
Hmm.
It's not.
Can I see that?
It's gonna be free of the elements and the weather.
Yeah.
It sounds like to me that you're not gonna have any more runoff by having it sit on the ground. Because the runoff is gonna go off the edge of this concrete pad onto the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand.
Concrete pad is gonna be backed by 3 concrete walls. And in the middle of those 3 walls, where the floor's gonna be, and if you put a kid
Well,
on.
that's not a pad though. That's a pad with an edge wall
Correct.
as well. So that's a different story.
That's different than just a concrete pad under
It's
it.
different than a concrete.
We're
You-
attaching the 3 walls that she has defined, that you read.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of that, putting concrete on the bottom, because you put a kid in there with a Kubota tractor digging, they're gonna dig deep.
Yeah.
How many job sites has anybody been on to see how they're destroyed?
Yeah.
Let's not talk
You
about
guys
the
are concerned about the
recycling.
aquifer. I mean, you probably have at least 16 feet of sand filtration there. I'd probably be more worried about the nitrates than what's coming from.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm not a chemist.
But just, the P.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes it a lot easier for me to understand. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking
Oh, okay. I never really gave that a thought personally, but,
You're not gonna prevent all the runoff from that. And the water's gonna get into it at some point somehow. But if you have it on a cement slab, it's much easier to maintain.
just easier to clean up, you know? Like she said, she wants to put on stone. When you come in with the bucket to get to the bottom of it, you're gonna dig stone out. And then they've got to replace stone. It's just, it's not practical for a long-term investment. You know, it's just not, even if it's just a flat slab.
I
Yeah,
think that is
without-
the singular benefit to it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure it does anything else. But that,
Well, it's because she's gonna,
If we are afraid that somebody can't maintain their own activities,
yes.
then we're kind of in the wrong business.
Hmm.
If somebody's gonna have a horse.
Yeah.
And they are a poor horse owner, there's nothing we can do about that. If they don't maintain their property correctly, if they're not doing their due diligence, and they're digging and gouging out the ground, having a concrete pad there isn't going to. It's gonna make it look better from the street. But realistically, at the end of the day, that's just an extra thing that they're going to have to do. And it's not necessarily, in my opinion,
Hmm.
humbly, it's not necessarily helping the town. It's just making another roadblock for them in this process. And that's just kind of my opinion.
Oh, it does actually make sense, but.
And I wanted to do a good job at
Mm.
everything that is entailed with keeping a horse.
Mm.
Learning how to use a tractor is one of those things that you need to learn how to do.
Yeah.
That just comes with being good at keeping a horse or not. Concrete pad makes it sound good, but who's to say what they're gonna use that for? They may just ruin their tractor
Mm.
because the concrete pad is there instead of learning how to use it in the gravel and realizing they're gonna have to buy new gravel all the time because it's all over the place. So I don't feel like it's necessary to have a concrete pad. And the urine is the biggest problem with leaching into the ground. for
Yeah.
sure.
How do we prevent that?
We don't prevent that, that's what You know, 170 years ago, there were 10.5 million sheep in this state.
Yeah.
And I guarantee the water was cleaner than what it is now.
That is true. And my whole point on that is
It's half of what it was 150 years ago in Massachusetts.
it's half of what it was.
Nearly half of what it was. So it's,
Okay.
That's just my-
I understand your point, and you know what? Now that you put it that way, I tend to agree with you. I mean, we can have it put on a slab. It isn't gonna change anything about the manure or how they do it. It's just, it's all on them, I guess, Jim. I know we both agree with the slab for cleanup, but like he said, doesn't make a difference either way. The shit's still gonna run off the sides and it's,
We can recommend the slab.
Yeah.
we can recommend it.
yeah, recommend is probably the best way to do it. And Gavin, thank you.
You may run into problems later. We recommended you put a slab down.
Yeah. And we also have our representative over there that can go in and go, yeah, what you're doing isn't working.
The owners may not have thought about this either.
Yeah.
So this might put a light on their mind.
And you know Penn Burnham? He's been
Yeah,
around
I
a long
did the
time.
name, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's been around a long time. So he'll do the right thing. So do you want to approve it? Do we get a motion?
Motion to approve the application for the
Management.
management plan, app 45 South Harbor.
Mhm.
With the recommendation of
All in favor? Aye. So moved. That wasn't bad. Thank you, Gavin. I never really thought of it that way. I just think of straight out, being an old concrete guy, so, but that is true. Okay, so, oh my God, here we go.
Rick, will I see you tomorrow?
Okay, Tessa, you've got my 45-page contract back to 79 or something. So legal basically did all that.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I want to get.
Yeah, let me go to 1.7, okay, so we're
I wanna
official.
put Clips on these. I have 2 copies. Did you bring copies by any chance? No.
Here's one for you guys.
I have 2 copies.
Here you
of
go.
the
One for Gavin too, if you want. There you go.
He said, when you guys sign it, just deliver me 1 copy and I'll bring it to my lawyer and we'll be back on the 24th, hopefully with the signature.
Okay. And take it away, Tessa. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Okay, Tessa, can we see you in there? Yep. Okay.
So we had your adjustments put to it,
Mhm.
and then legal had their piece, the separate one. So then when we put those 2 together, it brought back up to the number of pages. But basically, some of the items he had were subsections of the main one that are in the end there, but nonetheless,
Yeah,
it's what all.
it's basically what we
it's
wanted.
basically- Exactly.
What did they add to it that would aggravate the hell out of us? Anything?
No, aggravate, no.
Well, it's just saying, I mean, they just added another 40 pages to this thing, so.
A lot of it was pulling pieces so that it's student loan,
Okay,
but that's where I mentioned to you,
right.
we're referring to the RFP items that you went through line by line.
Yeah.
On the specifics, additionally to what they had pulled out into this document, are reference to it, so you really should have the 2, and you mentioned,
Yeah.
why don't we just make it 2 documents? Because I said, okay, you're gonna be referring to this RFP.
Yeah.
That has how they are to conduct it, what are all the services and
Mhm.
hours and all of that in it. So when we then pulled the 2 together, it
Yeah.
expanded it back up basically. But quite a number of pieces were pulled from the original one and put to make it a standalone is
Okay.
what they were seeing, but it wasn't adding everything, obviously, from the
Okay.
RFP. So as
So-
far as new stuff, I mean, you had your standard boilerplate items that the town wants added, which we saw before.
Okay. So in other words, we're pretty much at the same thing.
Yes,
from the beginning?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So all that work of cutting it down for,
no.
was a waste of your
It
time.
still would have been longer than we think on their piece. We still cut out a number of
Right.
things that, it shortened it up.
Yeah.
It would have been even longer.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Good God.
yeah. I know.
Other.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, do you want to read through this, gentlemen, or are you pretty happy with knowing and trusting Tessa to say this is the same?
Yeah, well, Carla, I mean, basically, we had, what we had gone through line by line.
Yes.
He added this contract document, so
Mm.
that contract document was basically put on the bottom of it. The signature page.
Yeah.
So that was the new piece, and a number of the pieces that made it so long is they pulled some sections
Mm.
from what you had already reviewed and put it into that signing contract document. So now when we
Make sense
put-
to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What do you feel about that?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm just blown away that we have a level funded budget. It never would have even occurred to me. And I was extremely nervous about what was gonna happen, and we've still got the $6,000 credit to the recycling center for all 3 years, which before it went down to 3, 5, and 6, but they kept it at the 6. It's very needed right now because the cost to dispose of those things is a lot higher than it used to be. So,
My opinion, at this stage of the game, with all the effort that everybody's put into this, if it's as fine tuned as it can possibly be, I think it's time to sign.
Well, let Mr. Gavin take a peek.
I agree with
Oh, good, because now we're all in agreement. So, do we need to make a motion to accept this document to be signed by the board?
yes.
Okay,
A motion to accept this document for the trash contract that has been thoroughly gone through by Septic and legal counsel.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay, so we have a trash contract. Good job, everybody.
So page 59 is your signature.
Is that it? Okay, good. So I was just gonna go, let's get this
It's
up on
not
that.
like right at the very end, it's like right in the cap.
Fantastic. All right, now your next job is to save us more money on recycling. Whoa, what do you mean? No, yeah. Oh, all right, I thought you were like, no, I did the hard part, I'm done. At least, we still have you for another, what, year or something?
My whole.
It's
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's something we're, absolutely. we can look at and try to see how
Yeah.
we can
What we're gonna do is we're
Very
only
good.
gonna have 2 originals right now.
Oh,
Okay, so we signed.
Absolutely, and you're right in tune with that stuff, so that's kind of,
He's gonna sign it.
why I'm glad to have you, not just for this, you did a fantastic job on that, and I appreciate it. And anytime you can like go around and find someone to take our recyclables for free, I think that's a great thing. I mean, how about, is there anything else that we can do recycling wise, like as far as, I don't know, other things that we don't recycle now? Like I know they used to recycle, Kyle was telling me they used to recycle styrofoam, but the guy lost it. Or,
They went out of business. It wasn't cost effective for them because styrofoam
Yeah.
is so light.
Yeah.
To transport it cost so much more than the equipment they had invested. This was a mom and pop business. and
Yeah.
It was great. And they tried to make it work, but it just didn't end up, which is indicative of why we let the big guys do it. Well, it's because you're carting it around 98% air.
Yeah,
So they brought what is called a compactor, a
Right.
compressor.
right.
So instead of melting it down, it's very, very expensive. So what they would do is consolidate it down into bricks.
Mhm.
Very large bricks, and you would ship those out.
Right.
But it still was not cost effective enough. People weren't buying it. It's
Yeah.
kind of polystyrene, it's polystyrene.
Yeah.
And the market just was not there to pay enough for all that labor and the value added. to the other.
Basically, it was cheaper to manufacture new than to recycle.
Yes. Or use alternative, don't use expanded polystyrene. Notice a lot of the patterns would be like paper that's kind of molded together and will hold things. A lot of like the printer cartridges used to have polystyrene, but now they'll have like those cardboard inserts and
Gotcha, yeah.
molded kind of inserts that hold
Yep.
things.
And a lot of it, bags
And
too.
a lot of them have
Yeah.
replaced polystyrene, yes.
Hmm.
And that actually, that is recyclable. So people, all those bags, what I do is I just punch, or reuse them first of all, or just take the holes out, scrunch it up. That can go where you're taking your grocery bags at the grocery store. So right at the entrance, you've got that big container that you can put your paper, plastic bags. You can use the airbags, all those
Yeah.
pillows can be put in there along with your Ziploc bags. your-
Really?
Yes.
I did not
your
know that. I
Ziploc,
thought that was
even
just
the
for those
zipper.
bags.
No, even the Ziploc,
Yeah.
Ziploc, that can go in there. You just need to take the food out. They can't make plastic out of food. So it needs to be empty, can't have your pellets in it, can't.
Yeah.
But your bread bags,
Mhm.
your, all of those, shake everything
Really?
out. Yes,
Tell my wife
all
that.
of
I
it.
didn't realize that.
absolutely. So when you recycle those grocery bags, Target has a container at the beginning. Most of the grocery stores have it there at the front or in the back or wherever. And, or ask them. They most all, because what they do is they take it all, when the food trucks come in, they go back empty.
Hmm.
So they get a free ride back to the warehouse. They have a huge trailer where they put all those bags in it, fill it up, trucks, buys it from them, mixes it with wood and makes that winter resistant truck decking. So
That
they
is
mix that
so
together.
dangerous in the summertime.
Oh, 'cause
Burn your feet to death.
It's disgusting.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Siding, like your rails and what
Yeah.
goes into the ground,
Yeah.
it's a lot more resistant. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, anyway, so there's a market for that.
Yeah, okay,
So
good.
that's what happens with that. There's,
Is that something we should take in at the recycle center? No? Okay. I'm just asking, guys, just asking. Yeah, okay. Just asking. I don't want to.
But we can recycle that in with our recycling? Oh, we can't.
The reason not, the reason we keep it, is take it back to where you get it from.
Okay.
So Target, the grocery stores, take it back there or reuse it or whatever. Put your poo in it. I like to use
Yeah.
the.
I wonder if it'd be, have you ever been to the single stream plant? I know you haven't. I wonder if we could set one up for these guys. Go back and look at show them the single stream plant down at Harvey and it's very interesting. You will find out why exactly we cannot recycle what we do, why nips get thrown away, by the way this system works. It's very interesting. It's in Westboro. You know, it must be. Jeez, I don't remember.
130 or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there. I can't
Yeah.
think of what.
It's just, you find it very interesting on how it separates, the big cardboard, the small cardboard, the milk. Yeah. I honestly, if you guys want to, we could probably set it up. I think that would obviously have to find a time when.
need to go to Harvey or can they go down to Fitchburg?
Oh, Fitchburg has one now?
Fitchburg has.
Yeah, well, that's
Oh.
what I'm thinking. It's a lot closer for it.
Yeah.
It'd be easier, especially with your time.
Is it the one by Airport Road?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be way easier. Yeah.
That's waste management.
That's a single stream system also? Oh, I didn't know there was one there. Okay. If we can set that up
Do you have a
whenever
contact
everyone's,
with anyone over there?
I'll check. I don't, right now, we haven't done, it's been a while, and then with this COVID stuff, there may be a little bit of delay, but
Right.
they definitely are happy to have you take a look and
Yeah.
see,
Right.
to help
Right.
you understand
right.
why some things, as you said.
Well,
why some things
I
are
can give you
acceptable
guys a
and
good
some are not.
example that I learned from that is I used to squish my beer cans and throw them in the recycle bin because I figured it'd take up less room. It ruins the machine. They fall through and get thrown away. You can't squish them. They don't want They want the water bottles with the caps put back on them so they don't squish. They want the Pepsi bottle, everything with the caps on them. Yeah. Yep.
So there's different, information out there now, because I was under the impression that the caps could not be recycled.
No, they want the
were
caps back.
supposed to be
Yeah.
thrown in the rubbish, and that just the bottle was going.
Yeah.
there.
No.
So,
It has a lot more plastic. It's
Yeah.
basically just a
Yeah.
bottle, and they do. But
Yeah.
you're right, things change.
Yeah.
The equipment changes. Earlier on, they weren't able to handle it because what they were worried about is when they were compressing them in bales about the bottles popping off and this and that. But now they're putting it in the equipment. They realize they're losing a lot of plastic
Yeah.
without the plastic lid.
It's
Glass jars, like that metal, they want that off because one's glass and one's metal.
and they don't recycle glass, by the way. They just break it up and throw it in the landfill. Honestly. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't get melted down like the plastics. Yeah, but they don't anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those I found. I'm like, so why are we even bothering? Because if they're squishing it, breaking it, and reusing it for something else, or they just throw it in the landfill. And I'm like, well, so why do we even need to do that?
They can't throw it in the landfill now in Massachusetts
Yeah.
because there's a waste ban on it.
Oh, okay.
There's a waste ban. So you're right, they're not melting down because we lost the plant. It's
Yeah.
strategic material in Franklin.
Okay.
That plant was reliant on the Argot plant that made beer bottles.
Right.
But in this area, people stopped drinking so much of those round beer bottles and it
Right.
was going into aluminum cans.
Right.
So they lost that business. What everybody did not realize, including all the haulers, is how dependent they were on that plant. And when
Right.
that plant folded, strategic material was like, oh, we'll find somebody else. They did not.
Yeah.
And the whole house of cards went down.
Mm.
And you don't want to be shipping heavy glass hither and yonder. We had it
Right.
nice here locally.
Mm.
So what's happening is the state is giving grants to a number of the towns to grind it up and use it as either aggregate, research it for like the concrete blocks, see if it could be aggregate there.
Mm.
It's good drainage possibly
Yeah.
in the field for pipelines and pipe beds. They grind it up to use it for like pipe beds. So there's some.
It won't go away.
No, and
Yeah.
exactly. Well, it is sand. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's basically, sand, so it won't go away.
So they're trying to research that more because this has only been the last couple of years this happened. 'Cause it was a closed loop here, which was
Right.
wonderful. It was actually being melted down.
That's just something I want you guys to know too, that I learned from going to Harvey, which I thought was fascinating. I really did.
See what
Yeah.
we can get together over
The
in,
reason why the turnover has been quite a big, so I lost that one project, but there's other people.
and by the look of the COVID, by the 29th, it looks like most restrictions will be up. June will probably be a tough time with the end of the year, so maybe in July, it'll be a summer.
Yeah.
We'll try and pick a nice cool day.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
down there.
I'd love to see that.
I think you guys kind of enjoy it. It's eye-opening. It really is, of how much I've screwed up recycling because I squished my beer cans.
It helps for that wishful. And why people
Yeah.
want things to wishfully, but now you understand the mechanics as
Yeah.
to why it can't.
Yeah.
The cords,
Yeah.
the wires, the
Yeah.
plastic bags,
Yeah.
at that point, because of the equipment that
Yeah.
is jammed. And who
Yeah.
wants to then?
And the only way they can clear these machines are manually, which shuts the whole plant down. To get one of those plastic bags off the wheel system that it uses takes hours because it tangles up real tight. And the only way they can do it is to get a guy in there with a razor knife to cut it loose. And we never thought of that stuff until I actually went there and saw how it works. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense now. But we were fortunate enough, the plant was down for, they were changing the concrete slab, so the plant was down. So we actually got to walk the machines and see actually how it goes. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Also pretty smelly.
Well, yes, it was smelly, yes, because of all the people that don't clean the containers. But in general, I think you guys will enjoy it. We'll let these two figure out when we're going and what time. And I'm glad there's one in Fitchburg because it's a hell of a lot closer than Westwood. Westboro. All right, so anybody have anything else on our trash contract? I think, yeah, I agree. All right, so let's move on to invoices 1.8. Tessa, thank you very much. You did a great job. And don't forget about saving us money on recycling
Yes, of course.
constantly.
Yes, that's a constant.
Yes, all right, thank you. All right, invoices, Carla.
Okay, Shaw's April bill, Western Sampson, normal engineering. Unitil, regular, actually went down a little bit. I was happy about. East Coast Electronics came and took out their red container because as of next on the agenda is the recycling center update.
Yes.
So we had to get rid of the container so we could straighten out that.
That is like so cheap, isn't it?
That?
Yeah,
No, actually, the last time he did it, it was $750, so I'm not really happy with that, but we signed the contract with him 2 years ago, and we guaranteed him at least 3 times a year
yeah,
he gets to empty that. I'm not taking it back right now, I don't
Yeah.
think we need it.
okay.
Who didn't sign Western and Sampson?
I think I signed that one.
And then our kiosk, our beautiful needle kiosk,
Mhm.
I've emptied it 5 times.
Yeah, but how much does it cost us?
$85 each time, but let me tell you, one lady came in with 3 years of needles. 3 needles from her cat that had passed away years ago that she just had stuffed in there, and she handed me $100.
Oh.
She filled up because it's $5, so she hands me all these things, and I got $100. It was like, great. Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, 5 times. So what is it? It's May, so we're basically emptying this once a month.
Wow.
And we thought that it was going to be 2-3 times a year.
That worked out good.
It looks
How are
like,
we doing selling containers?
we're not, but the thing is they're bringing their own, so it's $5 either way.
Oh, so we are charging them $5. Okay.
I don't care.
Because I was worried about that when we talked earlier. We'll sell these for $5 and let them empty it for free.
Yeah.
As long as we're getting the $5.
Oh, and then some
Don't
people
care.
have larger ones, and I say, hey, look, that's $10.
Yeah.
That's as big as 2 of mine, so
Yeah.
I need $10. And nobody complains about the price. Nobody
Let's
complains.
raise it to $100 a bottle.
Okay.
No.
So that's what you have for
Yes.
invoices.
Fantastic.
The recycling center, we're having a bit of an issue with Kevin cleaning it up appropriately.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let Chris talk to you about that, because he was down there and.
Yes, I had taken pictures. You guys have seen them. I don't know, is he doing that for free? Or is he charging us for that?
What he did there, he did for free, but it's his trucks that were coming in and out when he was hauling out all that stuff last fall. A lot of the road got really icky, okay?
He hasn't done anything to the road, though.
No, they just did the circle. So if you look at you go into the recycling center, okay, you've got the garage right here. You've got all the wood piles here, okay, and then you have a couple of containers, and then you have this area right here where there's usually the containers, okay, and then you have another container over here. The people come in, they go around like this, and they leave, okay? These 3 containers, all this area was so uneven, and the loader, and the fact that really trained for it, which he is now.
Oh, we graded that with a front end loader?
No, he was just as he was grabbing the furniture, because the bins are so high that once you throw in, okay, look at people they're really high. It's really hard to like throw it up, and you can open up the container, but you can only do that until it's about 1/3 of the way full, because then it's going to come down on somebody, and somebody's going to be throwing their mattress, and all of a sudden all this stuff. So what the employees do is they say after that, leave it right here, and at the end of the day, they grab the piles with the loader and they chuck it in the containers. So,
Barely makes it over the top.
which barely makes it over the top,
Yeah.
and then they crush
We
it
need
and
it,
stuff.
we need a bigger machine
So
for those things.
what we wanted was, what I wanted,
Yeah.
and what I thought you wanted was
Do it
this to
right.
be all graded, all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, all of this.
Mhm.
And Kevin only did this. And what he did it with was what? What did he use?
Regrind. Well, they saw pictures of it. He didn't compact it. It's loose.
If you did it with a bucket machine,
It's not gonna do it.
you can't grade with a bucket machine.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what Chris has said is, I think we should get a concrete pad. Now,
Just in the center.
just in the center to keep that stuff
This
up.
is-
We've got capital money. I have no problem with, we don't have to, it's not gonna hurt the town. We have capital money specifically for these things, for the recycling.
I just
I really
assume,
think it's the only way to
to
go.
be honest with you, I think it shouldn't be that expensive to do. I mean, I could do the forms in 2 hours for it. It's just getting somebody to finish it. I'm not a finisher. And the cost of the concrete, obviously, but you'd also still have to, you'll still have to obviously grade it, compact it so it stays. It can't just be done, poured concrete on the ground that's there.
I've got a recommendation.
Yeah.
Right now. Who do we know that's a good engineer?
For,
What I'm gonna recommend to the board is we
Yeah.
find an engineering company, maybe
Yeah.
somebody that does our drawings or whatever. for
Yeah.
all the stuff. That's gonna have to be dug down, it's gonna have to be poured about a foot thick, it's gotta have all wire mesh and re-rod in it.
Yeah.
It's gotta be structurally solid so that these
Mhm.
containers going
Yeah.
on there aren't gonna bust it all.
Yeah.
You pour
5,000
a
PSI,
3-inch
Yeah.
slab down there with
Yeah.
no
No.
wire.
you'd probably have to do a 6-inch slab, 5,000 PSI.
Talk to a concrete company for that?
Well, no, they just,
Concrete companies don't do
They
that.
don't
You have to
do
hire a
that.
contractor that does concrete work.
we could actually get one of the local contractors that do concrete for,
With a set of drawings by an engineer, we can
Yeah.
put it out to several contractors,
Yeah.
so they're all bidding on the same job.
Right, but then we have to spend the money for the design.
We gotta design it, so there's gonna be legit.
Right, right.
We
Yeah.
have to have a permit.
So,
from the building
so what do you
department.
think about asking, George Sullivan, if you're saying engineers?
Anybody, whoever we
I don't
decide.
even
to
know
I
who
hire.
think
George
he's
Sullivan
retired.
is.
He's retired from David Ross right
Yeah,
now, and I
don't
bet
know
you
if
he'd
he'd
probably do
that,
something
but
like that.
Maybe he knows somebody. His son, I think, is an engineer too.
Okay,
But this is
all right,
something
so
to
you
look
want,
into.
you want to get something really,
I want a set
Yeah.
of drawings showing the dimensions of it, the thickness of it, the locations of the steel and everything in there, so that
Mhm.
this, once again, is a long-term investment.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
pour
that is
a
definitely,
3-inch slab and it's gonna be
Yeah.
busted up in a year. There'd be
no,
nothing left.
it's gonna probably need to be, 6-inch minimum
And it's
with
gonna have to
the
have a
3.
slope in the bottom too, so it's gonna be thicker on the outside edges, so when the trucks go over it, there's plenty of structural strength in
Yeah.
the concrete.
You'll
I
put a
know
haunch
exactly
on the
what
end,
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you put a haunch in the
Yeah.
edges, yeah.
You can throw these papers out to everybody, have everybody come back with a bid and
Yeah.
take it.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you have to say?
Yeah, just to piggyback onto that,
Hmm.
because that's exactly what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Jim, was to kind of alleviate another little problem is it would be nice to, if we're gonna do that, maybe reorganize or restructure the layout of things.
Oh, that's exactly where I was going with it, yeah.
And why can't we recess the ground somewhere where we're gonna place these? So we're not lifting them 10 feet over our head. What if they're 4 feet into the ground? So now we're only lifting furniture this
Yeah.
high.
You're gonna have
Yeah.
so much trash getting into
Yeah.
that spot,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to clean the trash out all the time.
Yeah.
It's not gonna-
You want it ground level?
But different containers, I mean, Alan has a good point.
Mhm.
The big container that we have from Shaw's right now is that 50-yarder.
Yeah.
We're not even supposed to have a 50, we're supposed to have a 40, and it's 10 feet higher this way. So our skid steer can't physically get over it.
It
can't.
does.
So we need to
It
look.
does.
Yeah, but it's really difficult.
It does. We need a bigger machine. We already talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
So-
that's something coming up in a,
What I-
starting to look into, right?
Yeah, you said you were gonna get it, because I don't know machines. I love playing with them, but I don't own them.
We just took out the green container, the old green container that was for the CFCs.
Yeah.
We moved the metal container, and what happens, and this is another reason why, is do you remember when the intermittent stream flooded and the guys called me and said the containers were floating away, and I had this vision that the containers are literally floating down, and I got there, and yeah, the water was up to here, but this whole area we really need to get out of. And what I'd like to do is, if it takes all this stuff out, then we can possibly put a couple of containers over here.
Back where they were before?
Oh, I don't know if they were ever over
That was
there.
always a compost pile.
Oh, was it?
Wasn't
yeah.
it? It's been
Okay.
since I've been here,
Yeah.
so.
No, I'm just curious.
But this is something that we need. Oh, and you know what? Weston and Sampson. They already do the engineering for the landfill. They have all this information. I'll talk to Dwayne.
And we should go with the engineer to the site and
Yeah.
take some proper
That's
measurements
perfect.
and assist them.
And we gotta fix the gate too, by the way.
That's perfect.
The
That's
gate
perfect.
needs to be fixed. It's
He
not even
also
close.
had contacted me last month and said that was there anything that was going on? He wanted to come in and reintroduce himself to Gavin and see what's going on with the recycling center. So this is perfect. This is perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
We need a cost for engineering. We don't wanna just go, you do it, and, you know.
Do we have a
You
metal?
know what I mean?
Is there a metal bin over there?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Do we make money on that at all?
No, Shaw's actually takes it for free. So
Yeah.
they take and what's usually is $150 transportation, and they don't even charge us for that. So.
I think they're making money on that.
Oh, they are. We know they are.
Wouldn't you rather pay them $150 to get $200 back?
I don't know that.
They don't
they're
know
gonna-
that,
I don't
yeah.
know that they're gonna do that. And that's something that we could talk about when we were in negotiations, but for instance, Shaw's also picks up all the soccer fields and baseball fields in town, and that's not even in our contract.
It's kind of,
They
We
do that
throw them
for
a
us.
bone,
and
they
it's
help
kinda,
us.
and they
I
said,
gotcha.
can we take the metal bin and
Sure.
can you take the metal bin and take all the kids' playing
And
fields?
if you've ever seen the metal bin, it's not quite what you think it is. It's maybe a gas grill, a lot of bicycles, a bed frame. It's not a lot of tonnage.
Well,
It's more of space. You know?
I think this is another
Yeah.
situation where people in town don't know what's available and what's out there.
We send out flyers every year.
And we're gonna be sending one out. Shaw's will be doing one as part of our new contract in June next month. So Julie and I have to start working on that, the flyer,
But
so we can make sure that we put stuff
my
like that
neighbor
in there.
Don't even read it, throw it away, which is too bad. And they'll always go, well, when's the, recycle center? We go, you got the flyer. What flyer?
When are you gonna do a Facebook commercial?
I
Where you
already
can
did.
address everybody?
I'm not on Facebook because I went off Facebook last year because I just get tired of all the fighting over stupid shit, and I won't go back on.
One thing that the employees did say, this past Saturday, because it's an unscheduled spring, opening, is we really need a sign, an open flag down at the end, because we used to have the gate down and when people drove by, they'd see the gate open, so they'd know. They don't see it. So Brian said he wanted one of those guys that do the,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
tell him we'll take it,
Yeah,
tell him we'll
no.
take it out of his pay.
no, I'll just go get an open flag, and you guys will have to go down and put it out.
Oh, that's not.
And you'll
gonna
have to take it back. So I was gonna go on Amazon, I'll get it in 2 days and
Yeah.
find something there.
All right, we'll figure out a way to mount it on something. I'll go down and do that.
Oh, and the sign, the poll was in for the new prices. So sometime this week, Jim Smith will be down
Yeah.
putting up that new sign. So right where the gate is, so instead of it being on the building, when they pull up right at the gate, it's gonna be right there. So, which I think is great, because then they can go, oh, I need this, because a lot of times they'll stop and they'll say, well, I don't know, I got this, and then you've got the employees standing there adding up everything. Whereas it would be a lot helpful if someone comes up and says, yeah, I have a couch and a grill, and here's your $30. Thank you very much.
They still don't do that. I get out and they go, how much you want?
Don't ask them to barter.
I just asked them how much they want.
Is there a paper slip of what comes in and out?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we have a very good receipt book. It's extremely detailed now.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't been there yet?
So
I went there
Are you busy when we leave here?
7 years ago.
Are you busy when we leave here?
I have a little bit of time.
A little bit of time, so I'll run you down. I mean, I'm only going to work, so I can kill it.
There is a free training webinar on code of conduct for town boards and committees.
Code of conduct?
Yes, like how you're supposed to talk to your employees and how the employees are supposed to talk to you as an elected board. And this is Wednesday from 11:30 to 1. 11:30 to 1. Okay, if anyone would like more information or take this,
I think this board is very respectful to our employees.
Gavin's writing it down. I'm gonna put it over there for Gavin.
Well, I can see Gavin being the chair
Okay.
soon, going, "Shh, come on, fellas."
Let's
You
see.
can't use them.
I don't know what happened with the town meeting and if the town people approved all our raises. Do you know if they did?
Yeah, I haven't heard a
They
word.
did?
They did?
83%.
What about all the other crap? Did they approve everything or?
I stayed till like Article 16, which they approved the budget.
Hmm.
The only thing, there was some people that didn't like the fact that they were taking 215,000 of the state relation funds to pay for the raises, but that got approved 83-7.
Okay, so that's good. So now I can go up and ask them what we're gonna do about the recycling center job descriptions. So now I can do that. We've been waiting to see now that the Collins report is gonna be.
Unanimous vote for that one.
Okay, good. Okay, and then 96 Fitchburg Road. The house has an accepted offer. They're closing on May 1st. I spoke to the tenant who was there. She said that her lawyer has not. May 1st,
June 1st.
June 1st, thank you. End of May. I think she said the end of May. So I sent a message to Mitzi and say, you know, how you doing? And she said, my lawyer has not told me anything. And the courts are closed for housing matters. So good luck with them evicting me. So, so that will mean that she's going to be there through the summer because it's going to take the new owners of the property approximately 5 to 7 months. When Rick and I were looking, and we're like, okay, how much? So 5 7 months. So that means through the summer.
In the house and the other, and the tenant won't leave.
Yes.
I can tell you that.
Something wrong with that.
Okay.
And the house doesn't have a septic
So-
system.
So
That's
what
gonna be a cash sale.
what I would like to do is send her a letter, a certified letter, not a little textbook thing, a certified letter telling
Signed.
her that we need the pump records because she was supposed to be pumping that routinely.
Yep.
Because I don't have any. I would like the status of the manure pile, which I've heard is gaining in size.
10,000 horses.
Okay,
down
we
there.
need a total count of the animals again, and we need a site visit.
Yeah.
Okay, because she's gonna be there. She's not going anywhere, and I'm really nervous about the amount of, I heard that the animals are eating the bark off the trees.
That's all ledge there too. There's no place for anything to run.
So-
We're talking about
Something, and I know you hate to kick people when they're down. Is this something that we need to call ASPCA on?
No.
I know you don't like that idea, but if
Nope,
horses
nope,
are
nope,
eating the
nope.
bark.
Nope. They don't look malnourished. I go by, everyone goes by there. She's very busy with activities in town. But she's got a lot of animals there. And I mean, honestly, I think there's probably 6 to 8 more horses there from the last time that you guys were there.
Every time I go by there, there's a trailer coming in or going out or something.
Right, because
There's
that's
always
what she
being
does. She has a petting zoo and that's why you guys told her that she can't have it at the house because there's a failed septic.
Yeah.
So she says, oh, I take the animals and I bring them to other places, to parties, and I put them out and I do horse rides. It's a traveling zoo, traveling petting zoo. She doesn't do anything at our house, but there's
wonder
gonna
if-
be a problem and the weather's gonna come and I worry with that pile being so close to Sue Funioli's old house. That line is like right there. Do you see it? I'm surprised that the horses don't touch our window.
All right.
So that's what we'll do.
We need a, what is it, a signed receipt request?
Yeah, I'm gonna send her a certified letter with a signature. I want your
Yeah.
signature on
And
it.
you want it back, that it's been signed for, so that.
Yeah.
That we know she got it, and she's going to need
And we'll be talking about this on, I don't know if I can do it on the 24th because technically I think she has 3 weeks to sign for a letter, which would put us into the first week of June. So what I will do is I will ask her to come to the first meeting in June. Or if she would like to contact the office earlier than that, we'd love to do a site visit before the June, and that would be great. If we could get all of this information done, we could get a site visit, so that when she comes in June, there's a plan. Here's my receipts, instead of her coming in and then we have to go do all of it.
You want to call me at 7 tonight? The Bruins are on.
You know what? I don't think I am gonna call you tonight because it's Monday.
No, they got 2 more games.
Yeah.
Some teams are done.
Yeah, they have the 2 makeup games back from when Buffalo had the thing. And they
There's a
redid
Bruins
it.
game.
That's
For some reason, I ended up calling him.
Was it?
Like, ended up calling Chris on work related
No,
stuff.
no, not just, it's not that one.
Oh.
That's why he
Yeah.
said, "Are you gonna call me tonight?"
Because,
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I'm Dave Bishop, I'm the superintendent of the water department.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm the only one that's, department head that's spoken to the town meeting.
Okay,
So that's why I knew everything that went there.
okay, well, good, thank you.
Yeah,
But this, I'll give you an, if you mind, I'll give a quick outline on here because it may be interesting to you. One of our wells had hit in what's called people. And
Okay, the only problem is though is we.
yeah,
don't have
you're not on the agenda,
no,
unfortunately.
this is
Yeah,
this is not an agenda item. It's one of the things I need from you
Okay,
is,
Yeah.
and but it's something that may be informative.
okay.
It's, so we're gonna have to shut down one of our wells,
which one?
Harbor Trace, which is the
Okay.
newest one.
Yeah.
But Cross Street's going back online this week. Main Street, we're starting drilling this week.
Okay.
And we're gonna need a water treatment plant at Harbor Trace in the next few years. And one of the reasons why it's getting hits is because there's a fault line underneath and all the sewage from Witches Brook is flowing the fault to the river. And one of the things I need from you is how many, do you, like the failing or the tanks or no septic system? I need that information because one of the things, there might have to be a sewer and water treatment plant on that site,
Wow.
Talking putting a sewer system in?
yes.
Can you hook me up? That'll save me from buying one of them new tanks, Jim. I never thought you would either. Are you just looking for something small that would do that end of town? Or are you looking for a sewer treatment plant for the entire town?
Everything that has to do with water.
So you're not just looking for every house in
Witches
town?
Brook would come first, but Main Street in the center would come with it.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of people that are having problems on Bayberry and Clement with water. And there's arsenic levels on Shirley and that area right there.
yeah.
There's arsenic everywhere in this town. I
It's
do
a very
keep
high-
track of that. I do keep track of the sodium. I keep track of the, and I keep track of, and this was all since 2007 when I came here. So we have records for something like that, and I could pull,
Right.
oh, I did that for Beth just the other day, for her grant.
Yeah, you did. Beth.
But we can do that, but the other people who might have a lot of information, so and I remember we did this
And what you're telling me
before.
is what I need.
Okay.
If you know the failures or tight tanks, which is what you were talking about for 96,
Right.
Pittsburgh,
Right.
things like that.
But do you have a specific area? The last time I had to do this, we were down in Timberley Park, and there was an area of something that went bad, and they said that they thought that it might have been from a failed septic system. So I had to go grab all the
Well, that-
files around a
Well,
certain
see,
area.
that's, if you have failed septic systems, if you have a list, that's what I need.
A current list.
Of failing or failed systems or tight tanks.
Okay, I don't know that I'm gonna have one that has tight tanks, but I
But
think.
the failed
probably-
systems would get me, I can pull them
you-
on the map and
do
I can
you-
see where the problem is.
So you just need failed systems.
Yeah.
What about water?
What do you mean, what about water?
Do you want to see where the areas are high in arsenic or radon?
Yes,
Okay, so water information. Yeah, I can pull that pretty easily off my spreadsheet.
because
Put it over
with,
here.
this is a PFAS hit. So we can get money to build the water treatment plant with PFAS and most likely fund the sewer treatment plant.
Okay, good.
And
This is
because
one
you need some
something
kind of
that-
a treatment plant for the alcohol, for the water anyways. So,
You're just looking for one for the water. You're not looking for black water sewage.
oh yes, I am.
You are, really? Wow. How big is this plant gonna be to do this town?
It won't be that big.
No? What about the one we already have that no one uses?
You mean it's in the wrong place?
Oh,
Because
Hmm.
where's the lowest point of town?
South Harbor Road? No, actually, that's,
No, you're close,
I'm close.
up behind the mall.
Yeah.
Which, once across the river from the mall,
Mhm.
all well.
Yeah.
We have 30-something acres in there, and there's room
Is there?
for
Okay.
both.
So you're gonna put the treatment plant behind the mall?
On the other side of the river,
Where's the access?
Harbor Trace.
Oh, you'll love that. I mean, they do
We
have
already have the
access
water.
now.
The water treatment plant has to go there because that's the one that's getting us a problem.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a water treatment plant there.
Hmm.
That's a given.
Wow.
How many years we've had problems down at that harbor with the smell and everything, remember
Mm.
that? Years and years.
Okay,
and years.
I'm going
I
to,
will tell you, a sewer treatment plant doesn't smell.
Can we get this as a
Yeah.
regular addition to the agenda?
What's
So
that?
we can just a check on where we're at with water levels and PFAS
Okay.
contaminants, and this is probably something we don't want
Update.
not know about, yeah.
to find out about later.
Okay.
Can I have a motion? Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Cal, check that out. I don't know.